dramatic. I would say intense. And I would also say polarizing.
Pretty good film.
Coming of age.
Important, emotional, intense. He's secretive, confident and assured.
Determined, focused, and competitive.
I think Jay is creative, and I think he's impulsive, and I also think he's a photographer.
Well, there's 3 words that describe Dan quite well. Tennis, tennis, and tennis.
I think I initially interpreted Jay as kind of this like guy who didn't really know what was happening. He was kind of just along for the ride a bit, and I think as I started to act it and we kind of got deeper into the script and delved deeper into the characters, I figured out there's actually more to him. Like, actually his background serves as a real motivator for him, and there's a lot driving him that you don't necessarily see in the film.
When I first read the script, I kind of viewed Dan as being in the right and him being the good guy in a way. However, after rereading it and looking at the different characters and playing it, it kind of came to my attention that every character had their own point of view.
I kind of, when I first had the idea for Tyler, I knew I wanted him to be kind of like your kind of high school bully type, but then kind of as I went along with it, I thought that's just such a boring trope, and I wanted him to have some depth to him, and for him to just be a real person that other people just view as somebody that they don't really like that much.
I saw that she was very smart and had a drive to become a good lawyer. She didn't really change that much, but I think she just realised that not everything was about competition, and it was just about doing well herself. When Zach and I were like messing around and creating small videos of like when I was on your shoulders and things like that.
For me, there's a scene where Zach's doing some running, and I had to sit in a car boot, and we drove the car while I was in the boot filming Zach, and that was a lot of fun to film for me.
My favourite bit to film was this scene which I basically had fully mapped out in my mind from the moment we kind of thought of it, where I'd got every camera motion, kind of every beat and every pacing moment in my mind, and also one with a little bit of a stunt which you'll know when you see it, and that was the most fun to film because it was just something totally different that we hadn't done in that film before.
My favourite bit, I would say, is the climax when the stakes were at their highest, and without any spoilers, there was a lot of tension between the characters. Well, most excited about probably that exact bit, where the tension is at the highest, and we get to see the thoughts that the characters had maybe had and not spoken yet.
I think the growth of the characters, the way that the characters interact with each other.
I'm most excited for people to see the stakes get high, and really I'm excited for people to feel the emotions that were felt kind of on set through these characters, and I think that they come across really well, and I'm really excited to see how people kind of react to that.
The end scene, because it's intriguing.
You weren't actually there for the end scene.
I'm still most excited for that bit.
I don't know, just like the amount of times that people would just say something and then that'll be it for like the next 30 minutes, we'd just be laughing. That happens countless times, so.
When I almost fell off of Zach's shoulders.
Probably when me and Zach just kind of bust out dancing and messing around a little bit, and I think that was quite funny.
Oh, I cannot remember anything. I won't lie.
It's got to be the whole last day of production, because we were so rushed, we were so behind, and we had like so many scenes to shoot that day, so we were just constantly running around doing one thing, moving on to the next, and we ended up having to literally sprint for ages to get the last bit whilst we had the perfect lighting, and we were sprinting saying, oh, we're not gonna get it, and we got it, and then afterwards we just had like this incredible feeling of like, you know, we've done it, we've accomplished it after working on it for so long.
I would say it was when we'd finally wrapped on that day after so many months and weeks and days of hard work, and we finally had all the footage we needed.
It was very fun when we were using the drone because you could see the world from a different perspective.
The moment we finished filming and we were getting this incredible sunset, and it just kind of all sunk in, like we were like, damn, that's it, like this entire time has been leading up to this and now we're done, was just like, and then like the same thing happened when we edited it as well, when we like watched it back for the first time and we were like, damn, like this is it. That was just, there's no feeling like it.
Can you describe what the night of editing it was like?
Oh my god, that was crazy. The night we edited the film, we were like, oh, we're gonna get it done tonight. So we were up until like 5 in the morning, and then we were too tired and we were like, right, okay, let's have like a power nap, and then got up again at 9 in the morning to continue editing, and we were so tired, but we did it, and we watched it back like at the end of the day when we'd done, and we were like, whoa, like this is incredible.
I would say it's pretty much aimed at anyone, however, probably with a younger audience in mind. But it's about people, and kind of the main point of the film, from my point of view, is to show that everybody has their own side of the story, really.
It's for anyone who wants to kind of go through what these characters are going through, which I feel like everyone in a way has. Everyone's kind of got something they can relate to the film.
The film is for youth and all ages, but especially youth because we are close to their age, and it's a coming of age film, and it can also inspire people to create film and act.
It's for you. That's who it's for. It's for you.
Oh, I think I would say probably Zach, most like Jay. I think that's definitely...
Yeah, I would probably say Zach, because he likes creative arts, like his character, and he's a very nice person and sometimes loses track of where he should be going in life.
Yeah, I'd say Zach is quite like Jay, in the sense that, you know, being outdoors and just seeing the world for what it is a very Zach thing to do.
I feel like probably, I don't want to say myself, but I feel like it's probably me and Jay, and I think that's because we both have a very similar interest. So Jay's into photography, I'm into kind of videography, and I think I kind of drew upon a lot of my own experiences for that, and his character and the way he talks, the way he acts, and I brought a lot of myself into that role. So I think probably the most similar person to the character is probably me and Jay. Done.
Is it bad to say Tyler? I know he's the character that I played, but like, I don't know. I know like I got to spend a lot of time with the character, obviously, but the way he kind of leaves the film is just, I like the way the film ends with his character. So
my favourite character is Tyler because his character development is very interesting and you can connect with it.
Ooh, that's a tough one. I think probably... I was thinking Kabir.
Charlie, because he was very happy to be there and seemed very into the filming.
I think Zach surprised me the most on set because like it's just a lot of fun to be around, and then suddenly kind of when we go he kind of just snaps into it, and if it's an emotional scene or a powerful scene, he can just snap really well into character.
I think they're both between Alfie and Zach, where there were some moments where kind of it emotionally got really intense, and which was quite surprising.
You know what? Both Zach's, because they both did certain scenes just incredibly well. I'd say like with Zach McConaughey, it's like we've always acted alongside each other for so long, so seeing him do something on this level is something I've not really witnessed before, so it's kind of like been a long time, and then all of a sudden this is like a proper thing where he's really going for it. And obviously we did some scenes face to face where our characters weren't too happy with each other, so that was really weird to do as two people who are very close friends acting as if we absolutely despise each other was quite surprising.
I've learned a lot in terms of how to write a film and how to go about preparing a film before you actually start shooting it. Because obviously, having done a lot of like this kind of short film stuff before in terms of acting, I feel like it's been a totally new experience trying to go through the whole creative process and trying to do it a whole lot more professionally. So I think I've learned a lot more about how to write a better film and how to construct a better idea and output that into a script.
I have learnt about being in front of the camera. I've learnt to learn my lines better, to understand my character more and get more into character for the future.
I've learnt a lot. I've learnt a lot about what not to do in a film, but mostly I've learnt a lot as an actor more than anything, because it was a very new experience for me. I've not done a whole lot of it before, so I've learnt a lot about myself as an actor and how I kind of get into character and how I interact with other people on set.
I've learned a lot about the filming process, which I didn't know, from Alfie and Zach, and that was really interesting. And just in general camera work and that kind of thing, that was really interesting.
There's a scene where there's a lot of high tension between Tyler and some other characters, and that was a very tough scene to act because there's a lot of emotion going through Tyler at that moment, and there's a lot on his mind, and trying to convey that all perfectly was very tough, because it's kind of the climax point of the film, and it's kind of all riding on this moment, so that was a pretty tough moment to act for me.
I think it's probably expected that it would be the high stakes emotional scenes. For me, it actually wasn't. I personally find those scenes a lot more fun and a lot more natural to act. I just find regular scenes where they're just sat kind of having a conversation and everything's normal, I find that the hardest to act, and I don't know why.
There were a few where I don't know why, but we just found something about the scene funny, and that resulted in a lot of laughter. So that was definitely probably some of the harder parts for me.
The toughest scene to act was with Dan, because I had a big speech and it was on top of a hill and it was cold and I kept messing up my lines.
See, me and Zach were working on a film beforehand, which we then scrapped, but we knew we still wanted to do something along the kind of coming of age line. And I remember we didn't have any ideas, we just knew we wanted to make a coming of age film, right? So I was just walking to meet Zach one day and listening to some music, and I think just like a certain song came on, and then I was listening to that song and one of the scenes popped into my head, and I was like, oh my god. And I came and told Zach, and I was like, Zach, I've got this idea, and then told him my vague idea that I'd literally come up with on the walk there, and then we just spent that day coming up with ideas, and then here it is.
Basically, it's a funny story, because me and Alfie were sat on this road filming a totally different video, and Alfie kind of came and was like, hey, I've got this idea, and we kind of just talked about it, and I was like, yeah, that's a good idea. And we were it's just sat there on that one day having that idea that was sprouted, and then we were like, yeah, let's stick with this. And we just ended up building it out into this crazy big thing where we had this kind of new village thought about and all these characters, and I was going really deep into what their backstory is and why that motivates their movements as a character. And yeah, I think that's kind of how Greenwood came to be. The next step from now is to make more films, to make better films, and to make more better films from those films. So there's a lot to come, basically, and I'm super stoked about it, and I hope you are too, because it's actually just going to be so cool. So that's the next step.
The next step, I mean, immediately I'm working on something, which I'm hoping to have fairly shortly, and then from there, plenty more films, plenty more pretty cool stuff that we've got in the works. But yeah, we're gonna be busy, and we're only really just getting started, so much bigger things.
Cool.